Howdy.
Welcome to Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. My name is Tom.
Hi, Tom.
I'm a fantasy sports addict.
And my name is Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
And I, too, am a fantasy sports addict.
So welcome to another meeting of Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. We're here today to induct our 2015 inaugural class of the Fantasy MLB Hall of Fame, I guess. You've seen our nominees and our potential candidates on the website, and today, again coinciding with the actual Hall of Fame inductee ceremony, we are going to be inducting our own Hall of Fame members. Ryan, can you give us the criteria for what is the FSAA criteria for being a Hall of Fame player?
Okay, so this was a little tricky trying to figure out like the criteria and what works for us. I mean, really, fantasy baseball is what started fantasy sports in general, and it started back in like 1984.
Long time ago.
Long time ago, like almost as old as we are.
Right.
But we weren't playing back then, and we're not talking about players that have played when you got to check the stats in the newspaper.
No.
And you're only able to play with people you know.
Right.
Like,
that's sad. You want to meet
really,
people.
once fantasy sports really took off,
The internet.
And really, other than modem and just kind of the beginning of the internet, it really took off in like, say, 2000.
So for our purposes, we're just going to we started playing 2002, 2003. We're going to be selfish and say the history of fantasy sports and the Hall of Fame, we're just going to start it with our generation, our group, I guess. It's like our favorite bands from when we were in high school, and all the music sucks everything after that, right? Like, I don't know. So, I don't. Maybe that was a poor analogy. Who knows?
I got it.
Okay, whatever. So, we have the inaugural class.
Basically, it's players who have played from 2000 to 2007.
Okay, or more.
Well, basically, we're still given the 5-year wait period.
Yeah, we're going to copy the MLB 5-year rule.
So if they actually played until 2010, so 2000 to 2010.
Right. If you retired 2010 previously for that decade, we're going to talk about you here today.
And if your stats make you a fantasy Hall of Famer, you're going to be in.
Right.
So, Tom, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, enough
Who
setup.
is the first?
Well, all right, so possibly one of the best of all time. How would you classify him? I mean, would you say like Red Sox legend, or would you say like...
Yeah, I mean, anybody part of that World Series
Pedro
team.
Martinez. We're talking Pedro Martinez here. I mean, the Yankees were his daddy, and it's a good thing that you didn't count fantasy stats for the actual playoffs of the baseball season because, you know, again, the Yankees weren't beating him, hopefully, when you had him on your fantasy playoffs, but, right? I mean,
yeah.
But Pedro, so he's retired. He's now going to the cornfield, our magic cornfield of Hall of Fame.
He's not dead, but he's going into...
Well, there's like a Hall of Fame cornfield, too.
Okay, I did not know there was a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we're going to grow a cornfield.
I thought you just went and played baseball when you were dead in a cornfield.
No. This is going to be like a softball league. It's going to be a charity softball game in the corn. Okay. All right. Total tangent there.
It happens.
All right. Who's the guy we love?
Randy Johnson! Woo, yeah! Woo! All right. Randy Johnson is both of our favorite players. Like,
of all time.
Yeah, all time.
The greatest.
Randy Johnson, the big unit. I'm not even going to bother with all of his stats. Like, just Randy Johnson, the big unit. I don't care. He's in first ballot.
Greatest left-hand pitcher of all time. We don't need to say anymore. And he killed a bird. So, can you stand up and turn around, please? Because the next guy on the list, I don't care if you don't like it.
Barry!
That's right.
Barry Bonds, yeah!
He's in our Hall of Fame for very many reasons, but you know what? 73 home runs. Can you imagine today having a player that hit 73 home runs in a given season? That's absurd. I mean, that's what we said. That was like 2 first-round picks. Like, that's 2 first-round players.
And if your league takes walks or on-base percentages,
the man was a monster.
Money,
a monster. Again, prior to our list, you know, he's a little more well-rounded. But that power, my gosh. As a D-backs fan, we hated him. But Barry
Bonds.
All right, so let's name his equal.
His
level playing field
counterpart, the Rocket, Roger Clemens.
Was he not just the shot in the ass that your team needed?
Absolutely.
Early 2000s, there you go. Yeah, you had to have Rocket, like Roger Clemens. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some like actual core positions that's really hard to get talent at. I mean, we all know catcher, middle infield, you're in trouble. Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza is the best fantasy catcher probably ever, and he will be probably, maybe forever. I mean, again, we'll see as time goes by here, but Mike Piazza, for our purposes, he is the granddaddy of fantasy catchers. So,
see, here at FSAA, we don't give a damn about whether or not you're an alleged steroid user. Like, everybody was at fault. It was the era of the game. And honestly, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Mike Piazza, they all make the Fantasy Hall of Fame.
Without doubt, because again, there's no suspensions in fantasy. It's just about the numbers. That's all it's about, is the numbers, and these guys give you amazing numbers.
And I'm sorry, they belong in Cooperstown.
Okay, all right, let's not get too political. Let's go back to another position of scarcity. Middle infield, second base. All right.
I personally hate the guy because I'm a Barry supporter. But Jeff Kent, like, he was an MVP, and if you're getting that kind of well-rounded power numbers, like, out of your second baseman,
wow,
you take that all goddamn day.
Right. I mean,
all fantasy goddamn day.
Right. We don't have, you know, Biggio on this list. I mean, 3,000 hits, that's a baseball thing. Who did what for my fantasy team? Who did what for my roto team? Who did what for my head-to-head team? If you needed a second baseman to, like, blow the doors off the barn, you had Jeff Kent.
Yep.
Okay, here's where it gets fun. All right, these next two, here's where we're going to have our fun. All right, so back in the mid-2000s, early 2000s, whatever, if you needed a first baseman that people weren't, like, falling all over themselves to have, this next guy, Carlos Delgado, he was the guy to have. Played on teams where he was sort of hidden under the radar. There was that, like, discount, like, oh, I don't know, Blue Jays.
Well, I mean, that was the thing, too, when we were going over the list and trying to figure out, like, you mentioned Carlos Delgado. I'm like,
huh, what?
Carlos Delgado? Really? Like,
what?
Then I went and looked at his stats, and it's like, Carlos Delgado.
Without a doubt. So, again, anybody who had Carlos Delgado, you're with me, you remember, he was just money.
Tom, what's that noise?
Oh.
Bang!
It's time to wrap it up.
That's
means closing time.
We're bringing in Trevor Hoffman.
Okay.
Woo!
All right.
If you needed a closer between 2000 and whenever he retired to the late 2000s,
you had Trevor
Hoffman was your guy.
There may have been a few exceptions. Let's bear in mind that this is our inaugural class. Requirement for that was retiring in 2010. So there may be a few names not on this list. Don't shoot us up for that just yet.
They're coming. Next year,
they retired
the year
later.
after, yeah.
So, for now, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest fantasy closer we have.
For now.
For now. Okay. As we said, that's time to wrap it up. He's closing us down. Ryan, can you give me the Fantasy Sports Serenity Prayer?
With pleasure.
Please.
Fantasy gods! Please grant me the serenity to set my ideal lineups and the courage to add drop aggressively and the wisdom,
as always,
to make good trades.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so feel free to disagree with us or chime in if we, left somebody out.
Did we forget somebody? Let us know.
Keep in mind the statistics or the requirements we were talking about. 2010 is the...
McGuire, Frank Thomas, Sammy Sosa, like, they were all close, but they just didn't match our criteria, and they don't make our Hall of Fame list.
Not right now, anyways. So, check out our website, fantasysportsaddicts.com. You can reach us on Twitter at any time, at letter F, letter S, the word double, letter A, at FSAA. And
thank you, and good luck.